Early June. Early June. It's the very apex of greenness. Everything is so bright and alive. And now that I am out in the woods walking for a few hours, I feel much brighter and much more alive than I did not too long ago. I extracted myself and decided that I really needed to do this, and I'm going to be climbing Camels Hump. Very popular hike, very populous hike, a classic hike. For good reason. It's pretty spectacular. And it's going to be a good one. It's a beautiful day. It's warm. Some clouds. I expect it to be swatting black flies continuously, but it don't seem to be much of a problem right now. I'm sure that will change. And when I say the very apex of greenness, I mean apex. I use that word very intentionally because here in northern New England, the trees have just fully leafed out. Everything has undergone its first spurt of growth, and everything is fresh. The leaves have yet to start their, well, I don't want to say descent. They stay green throughout the summer, but they just get a tiny bit less green. Their color becomes a tiny bit less vibrant as the season goes on. So boy, you get out here in early June and it's just like it's a banquet of green. It's a banquet of greenness. Everything's alive, and everything that surrounds you is alive and living and doing its thing, trying to survive. And that is much different. Much different than when you're inside, surrounded by right angles and inanimate objects. Everything is animate out here, and it does wonders. Yeah. As I said before, this is one of the most popular hikes, perhaps in the state, at least in this part of the state. Camels Hump is the second highest peak. No, it's the third highest peak, whatever. Not much of a difference between Camels Hump and the other two, but it's the only trailless, undeveloped mountain in the state that goes above tree line. Well, actually, constantly correcting myself. There is another one that just barely gets above tree line. Anyway, point is, I really needed to come out here when it's not crowded. My strategy is really, it's Tuesday afternoon. I started hiking about 3:15, and I'll probably be done 7:30 or 8 or something like that. I could have left a little bit later. I'm sure there'll be people up on the summit even at that late hour when I get up there, but it's really a great time to at least get a little bit of have the trails to yourself for the most part. The parking lot was mostly empty. So if you can swing it, if you can manage it, weekdays, evenings, perfect for the Green Tunnel in early June. So I should be so resilient that I could grow big and strong on top of a rock like that. So I'm gonna offer a few hiking factoids about this trail, about this loop, though I don't generally go into great depth about those sorts of things. This is a loop where you hike up one side of the mountain on a trail named the Dean Trail, and you climb over the top of Camels Hump, and you come back down on the Monroe Trail. Then you walk back to your car. It's 7 miles, I'm guessing. 7.5, 8, I don't know. A lot of climbing, probably over 2,000 feet of climbing. I'll be tired when I'm done. Very tired. Feeling a little daunted by the prospect of doing it now, but it's all mental. It's all in my head. I've done this hike many times before, and I will, in all likelihood, have no problem getting it done this evening. Yeah. The destination. Way the hell up there. It looks far and it looks mighty. In some ways it is. It'll be another hour or so before I'm up there. May the climbing begin. In earnest. For real. Climb. Climb. Typical long trail climb. Rocks. Steep. Test of endurance, a test of fortitude. Yeah, that's what it is. One of the reasons why this hike is so popular. When the views start, they are unrelenting and varied. Whenever I hike this section of the trail, I find myself half expecting to come across an elf, a gnome, some kind of magical forest person. There's enough magic here without having to interact with elves or gnomes. A fun thought still. So this channel is more about interacting with places than the places themselves. And for those very few select people who have seen previous videos that I've posted, know that I often talk about how the places that I walk through kind of transform my mindset, my emotional state, and my tolerance for black flies, which isn't very high right now. Yeah, so I was actually feeling pretty moderately depressed this morning for reasons that I don't quite understand. I did some grounding Taoist practices, and that kind of shook loose something that I wasn't expecting. That's kind of related to all the emotional tumult that I went through almost about a month ago, and I posted a whole bunch of videos on that from Cape Cod. Well, anyway, point being that that all evaporated once I got out here. It's quite an effort to convince myself to get out the door, but I kind of knew this was exactly what was needed. Yeah, good stuff. The final climb looks pretty intimidating from this perspective. It is a doozy. But before long, it'll be over. I'll be up top. Yeah, this is work. This is hard. This is relentless. It's okay. One step at a time. One breath at a time. A glacier once covered this mountain, moving north to south, spilled over the summit, carved out this cliff during the last ice age. A long time ago, guessing 8,000 to 12,000 years maybe. And depending on your perspective and your frame of reference, not all that long ago either. Thankfully, the black flies have relented. They were thick. They were cloudy, clouds of them around my head. Yeah, it's June in Vermont. That's what you get. But I'm on my way down from the mountain, hiking down. It's about a 3.5 mile trip back to the parking lot. And just like what usually happens out here, you know, if thoughts in my mind were waves upon the sea, the trip out, the trip up, the climb up was rough and stormy. And the storm has subsided. The thoughts are still there, but they're just kind of like gentle breezes now. And never fails to calm things down, which is exactly what I needed. For those of you who want to know a little bit more about the place, about the trail, the trip on the Monroe Trail is a steady up or steady down, depending on which direction you are hiking in. I am hiking it in the descending direction, so it's just a steady, I wouldn't call it gradual, but in contrast, the Dean Trail, the way I came up, when it hits the long trail and then heads south to north over Camels Hump, has a lot of really steep up and downs. It's actually, I prefer climbing steeps rather than descending steeps, which is why I hike it in this direction. But if you just want to get to the summit and you don't want some epically steep climbing, you can't go wrong with this trail on the Monroe Trail side.